Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Struggling Hunters. You got me, Eric, and Mr. Joe over there on the other side. Uh, I guess we'll kick it off like we always do. And thank you guys for giving us a listen. Uh, just ask to comment, subscribe, give a like, do the whole thing, help us grow. That, that usually helps
It does.
by the interactions. To the everybody that does comment already, thank you guys for staying engaged with us. We love it. Keep up the work. Appreciate it. With that said, Joe, let's just move right along, I guess,
Sounds
and
good.
go into the Fred Bear's 10 Commandments. I think we're on number 5. You want to go ahead and take it from there?
Yeah, I'll give that a read. So number 5 says, take only the gear to the field that allows you to hunt longer, harder, and smarter.
So, well, did you do any of that this weekend?
I won't, not this weekend, but I did tonight, this evening.
Oh, this evening. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Gotcha.
think well, I didn't hunt longer because I only had a couple hours, but so I tried to hunt smarter. And by that, I mean, so Utah, we've been getting some snow on the mountain, on the foothills or the mountains, I guess, the last couple of weeks. And we had some snow get left on the mountains today. So I tried to use that to my advantage and went up. So supposedly everyone tells me that the turkeys stay at the snow line, like wherever the snow line is coming down off the mountain. So I tried using that to my benefit, try to hunt smarter. And I took off and parked the truck. And then I left the road and got kind of where the snow line was, or it was just a little bit more than a skiff, but just more than a skiff, but not quite a skiff of snow. And if that makes sense to anybody, sorry if it doesn't. But so I got into it, got hiked up this little trail, and it opened up into this opening. And so I thought I would just walk along the outside of the opening to see if I can cut some tracks because of snow. And you can't cover up snow and tracks. It's pretty hard to do. You can't cover up snow and tracks. Can't cover tracks in snow.
There
Sorry
you
about
go.
that. So I started walking the outskirts of this opening, and I cut. And it was kind of funny because I cut some turkey tracks, so I was pretty excited. And I cut one track, but it was going in the direction. It was heading the direction I just came from, and so I cut off in the opening just a little bit too soon. If I would have went just a little further in the opening, I would have walked right into these tracks. But anyways, I at least came across some tracks and started following them. Had to spend a little bit of time just deciphering which way they went because they got in. I don't know if it was just one or if there's a couple of them, but like it'd go into a little like area in some scrub oak, and then it would kind of do a little walk and walk out and then walk around in a couple circles. And finally I was able to navigate which way they went, and they walked into some scrub oak, but it was too thick for me to like kind of walk through. I'm too big of a guy. but but as I looked into the scrub oak and they weren't that far in, I could see just this head kind of take off walking. And so I had to like navigate my way through the scrub oak to get to where it was. And there happened to be tracks where I saw the movement, and they were turkey tracks. So I started following them, but again, I'm right on the snow line, and the tracks went into mud. And then after that, they kind of disappeared, but they're on a hillside. So I kind of feel like they maybe flew down, like, cause I mean, who knows? Like, I tried to walk up and down from where I lost them, trying to discover more tracks, but um, I couldn't cut any more tracks. So I just kind of chalked it up to it was not necessarily my lack of the ability of tracking. It was more that the turkey maybe jumped up and glided down the hill, because like it was right on the edge of a steep hill. So it would have been nothing for the turkey just to like jump up and then coast.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell myself. So anyways, I turned around and hiked back up and cut some more tracks and couldn't come across anymore. But it gave me another spot to hunt turkeys. So did I hunt longer? No. Did I feel like I hunted pretty hard? I feel like I hunted harder. Meaning, like I tried not to, I really don't know how to hunt turkeys this time of year, but I figured if I could cover more area, it might help. So I spent, quite a bit of time waiting in areas and hiking to another spot and waiting in that area. And then I went through the trail. I went through some scrub oak. There was a handful of more tracks in there, but I couldn't come across any more turkeys. But it did give me another area to hunt turkeys. So, a new area to hunt. So that was, so I feel like I did hunt smarter by using the snow for my benefit.
Yeah, 100%. That using the snow is pretty helpful. I mean, we've had maybe not getting the animal down, but we've had a little bit of success by doing that in the past with elk too. So
Right.
So I think that's pretty good idea. Pretty smart idea.
Yeah. And like I said, it gave me another area to put in my book to go back to at some point. But yeah, so anyways, that's the end of my turkey hunt for I shouldn't say not the season, just today's hunt.
Yeah, just for today.
Yeah.
I guess when we talked earlier, I thought you were saying this weekend you went out, but I didn't realize it was tonight that you went out.
Yeah, just tonight.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool, man. Getting close to getting another turkey, probably.
Yep. Hopefully.
Getting to know those mountains too, that's pretty important.
Yeah. I tell you though, I feel like those turkeys are dang sly. They can I feel like they can just like bebop through the scrub oak and all that just so easily and without really making much of a noise. So they're kind of harder to hunt that way because they can be just so quiet and stealthy.
Yeah, they're not really gobbling this time of year.
Right. And it's not like a big elk going through the scrub oak, so anyways.
Yeah, it's hard to locate. And I guess for that reason, I'm kind of glad that I am, and kind of glad, or I wish I was turkey hunting, but I'm kind of glad that I'm not, because probably just get frustrated, without them like giving me gobbles or anything.
Right. Well, I will say that that's one thing, man, that drives me nuts about hunting, no matter what animal I'm hunting. But just like, so what drives me nuts is you sit down, you get quiet, and then you start picking apart every noise you hear. And so we had some fresh snow, and so there's snow in the trees and it was melting. And so like there'd always be like something dropping in the woods, like so like every time I sat down and get quiet, I'm like, oh, there's something. But I'm like, no, that's not moving through the woods. That's not snow falling. But nothing ever appeared,
Yeah.
And then like I'd get quiet again and I'd hear that. I'm like, was that a turkey like purring or something, or chirping? And like, oh yeah, it is. I get all excited and sit there and just, get real still again and just barely move and looking around. Then nothing ever appears, so it's just one of those things that that, like you can't take a gamble on, like, oh, that wasn't a turkey. Cause I don't know how many times, like, and have been in other situations where I'm like, oh, I slough it off and don't think anything of it. And then lo and behold, there comes an elk or a deer, like, but here I am thinking it was nothing to worry about. And I'm not even in the position to shoot.
make a to make a play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's happened so many times. Or whenever you like give up and you kind of give up on your hunt a little, like, if you're, I've had it where I'm hunting with a buddy or something, we kind of get to a spot maybe where we're getting closer to the truck or whatever the case may be. And
Right.
so you start talking and walking and, like, yeah, and then all of a sudden, like some big deer, big buck or big elk, like just pops out right in front of you. And you're like, oh, I'm not even ready.
Right.
I've had that happen so many times. I'm like, snuck around the woods for the last however long, all day long or whatever, snuck around the woods, tried to be quiet, didn't get nothing. And then, whenever I'm like, nothing's out there, he jumps something, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, like sitting down and getting quiet and trying to pick apart all the noises, and then you don't want to be like, yeah, like you know, you don't want to give up, but then it's like, oh no, I did hear something. Then it's like, well, I don't see anything. But
Yep. Yeah, I know that's most frustrating thing. Well, and speaking of that, you think you hear something and get all excited and you spend all this time in this one area because you're hearing all this stuff. Then it turns out to be nothing. You kind of waste a little bit of time, but how do you know if you don't know, I guess?
right. Oh, but I should say though, I did see turkeys though. I did see on the other side of the ridge from me. Not to cut you off what you're saying, but I at least want to put it out there. The other side of the ridge, the other side of the valley, there was some turkeys.
Yeah, that's always fun too.
Yeah, but I just couldn't get there soon enough before dark.
Spend all that energy being on the one side of the ridge and then they're on the other side of the ridge.
Yeah.
That's the struggling hunter's way right there. Always on the back foot.
Right.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, at least you're getting some action or activity going and seeing them. With that said, do you want to get back to the Fred Bears thing and we'll kind of
yeah.
go down some rabbit holes there and maybe call this one?
Yeah. Sounds good.
So I guess to break that down, I mean, how do you feel about that? Like taking only the gear to the field that allows you to hunt longer, harder, smarter. Do you feel like sometimes you might take more gear than you need, just the right amount of gear, not enough gear?
I feel like I take the right amount of gear, at least, that I know of. I feel like, I can handle the situation I'm in. But, there's some other things I need to add to my pack and some things I need to take away from my pack. But I feel like I can hit the longer, harder. I don't know about smarter. Just, just simply because I feel like there's some. I may not be the smartest one out there just yet. I wonder what that means though. So I mean, like you can look at them all as I'm sitting there looking them over, trying to like hunt longer. Okay, that's you got to have something in your pack, right? That's they're gonna keep you out in the woods all day. I guess so. Let's just say, being that the way we hunt is we go back to camp every day, so we got to have something in our pack. Our pack's got to be built to be able to last 24 hours, whatever, however long however long the sun's up for. So like you stay out there longer, hunt harder. I guess what's hunt harder mean to you? I feel like that one, like I'll let you answer. I'm gonna ask Eric the question, then I'm gonna answer for him. Thanks, Eric. This is my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm glad I could participate. Uh, the way I interpret that, I guess, because I get it, like it is a little bit tricky, but I'll break it down. The way I interpret everything is, so you don't want to bring too much gear because you'll just get tired faster and you won't be able to hunt as long. You also don't want to bring too much gear because, or if you have a lighter pack or lighter or less gear, you can hunt harder because you can go up and down the ridges or wherever you need to go to hunt harder. But you also want to hunt smarter. The way I interpret that a little bit is bringing the right amount of gear, but also like, maybe you drop, maybe you want to bring your spotting scope, but you leave that wouldn't make sense. Your spotting scope and tripod, but you leave something else behind that you really don't need for the situation you're in. Or the fact like hunting smarter, like with us using Onyx and, learn figuring out where we are, how we want to attack the ridges and stuff. I would say that would be in the category of hunting smarter, and having the right gear for that. I guess it's kind of interpreted in a way where you could even have a heavier pack as long as it helps keep you out there longer.
Right.
Because, as long as you're out there, you're going to have some kind of chance of success. But the minute that, you don't bring rain gear, which was kind of my lesson this year, you don't bring rain gear, you're kind of like, should I just call it and go back to camp and stay warm for the day, or should I stay out here? That, so just because I guess like when you see that, you think like, oh, you need to have a lighter pack, but sometimes maybe a little bit heavier pack will keep you out there longer. But then sometimes, depending on what you're hunting, you probably don't need everything. When you're turkey hunting, you don't need everything that you use for elk hunting.
Right.
So you could unpack your pack a little bit. Do you ever use your spotting scope for turkey hunting?
Let's see. No, I do not.
Do you still pack it?
No.
See, you're hunting smarter already.
I actually, this evening hunt, I just had a little fanny pack.
It's not a bad idea.
Just a fanny pack. I keep, I got a bottle of water. If it's just an evening hunt, I typically just take a fanny pack for turkey hunting. But if I'm going to be gone all day, I'm throwing on a backpack. That's going to be just more food, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just, I can carry enough food to be out all day.
A little more water, maybe.
And some more water. It becomes more of a sustainable pack for the day, not so much. I mean, like turkeys, I'm not carrying game bags or 100 feet of rope or, anything, like extra broadhead, or not that I really carry extra broadheads. I wonder if that's even something I got to worry about. If I brought extra broadheads, and man, I'm going down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if you would. I mean, my experience archery hunting isn't very big, but the way I see it is, you probably only. So I personally think like you probably only really need like 3 arrows, and you're probably only going to get one shot off with an arrow. The only other time that you'd use the other two is like if you injured the animal, but you needed to shoot it again,
Right.
then you'd use, a second arrow. But yeah, I mean, I really don't even think you almost don't even need like more than 3 arrows.
As long as you hit what you're shooting at.
I'm sure there's a scenario out there. Like, I'm not trying to, I mean, I want to clarify here. Like, I'm sure there's a scenario where somebody will say, you got to have 5, or 10 or whatever. I don't know, but, and they're probably right. But most of the scenarios that I can play through my head, I'm like, I mean, you're lucky enough to knock 1 arrow and shoot it at an elk. The chances of knocking 2 arrows are maybe slim. I mean, now if you fling an arrow and you're short, or it goes one way or another, and for whatever reason your elk or deer doesn't run off and you get that second shot, I mean, I could see that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many. So bringing extra broadheads, I don't know if that would be like worth it, is what I'm
Right.
what
No, I
I'm
get that.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I have a coworker that I always, we drive up and down the road a lot, and most of the time when we see people that wreck their vehicles,
yeah,
on the freeway, a lot of the time it's on the straight stretches, and we'd always like go back and forth about that, like, how does people wreck on the straight stretch? And I just don't get it. And one day I perked up and I was like, I'll probably never understand why they wreck on straight stretches until one day I'm wrecking on a straight stretch, and in mid rollover, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how they wreck on straight stretches. So I say that because, maybe there is a scenario where you need to carry extra broadheads or something. And I just don't see it now, and so I could get myself in that situation where I'm like, oh yeah, this is why you'd carry extra
right.
broadheads.
I guess, the only thing that kind of comes to mind is if you shoot mechanical broadheads, and sometimes the mechanical broadheads fail. So, like if it doesn't open up, then you might need to switch it out. That would be my only, I guess, reason why I'd carry an extra broadhead. But
I feel like at that rate though, you'd kind of notice that before you went out hunting, right?
right. But unless you're out there and who knows what,
Unless you're doing backcountry, then I could see
That's
where
true.
you bring extra broadheads for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, there's probably scenarios. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's scenarios to bring extra broadheads.
Right. Well,
But yeah, I know some guys that, do like a handmade bow press, and which I'll probably get there eventually once I get a little more experience under my belt.
right. Yeah. God. Yeah, you can, like you said, you can start taking, we kind of joked about before, uh before the podcast started, like, oh, I just take a whole horse with me with everything I want on it, and that way I can hunt longer because my horse is packing everything I need.
Yeah. I can't ride the horse because it has all my equipment, but
Right.
my horse is with me.
Yeah, if I do shoot an elk, I still got to pack it out on my back.
Yeah, I still got to take the elk. Exactly. Which, speaking of though, that'd be fun to do horseback hunt one of these days.
True.
Maybe
Use
we'll
the horse
get there.
to get back there, back in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be fun to experience that and do like a backcountry hunt like that.
Yeah. I think it would be too. It'd be a definite experience. Almost like that. It feels like that's like almost in a way like the dream hunt of a hunter is a horseback someplace.
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah.
It's like the epitome of a hunter's dream. Besides killing a good bull, but also doing a horseback hunt trip.
Yeah, so I don't know. So my takeaway on number 5 though, there's a lot of interpretation there
No, for
with
sure.
bringing the gear to hunt longer,
It,
harder, and smarter.
it's almost like the smarter side of it, end of it too. I mean, I kind of use the smarter as like, being a smarter hunter as far as like what knowing how to hunt what you're hunting. But then, like hunt smarter, like that goes to understand how you're going to hunt longer, how, like being smart enough to understand how you're going to hunt harder, like, so it's kind of but then they all kind of play into each other. But I feel
Oh,
like those three little rules are good rules to understand or try to understand to be a better hunter.
right. And I mean, so from here on out, I should probably try to leave my espresso machine back at camp
Right.
instead of carrying it out in the woods. But
Yeah.
um,
I didn't know how
I
to tell you that. I'm glad you came to that on your own.
yeah, yeah, you didn't want to break the news to me.
Yeah.
Well, you know me. I like to have an espresso drink in the middle of my hunt. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it does. Your bag. I mean, me and you carry different stuff in our bags. I mean, I watch what you put in yours. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And I mean, there's some things that I've mimicked and say, Joe carries that, I'll carry it too. And then there's stuff that I'm like, I don't really see why I need to carry it, or but it does make you kind of think about your bag, though, is what I'm getting at. Is it just kind of makes you think about what you really need and what you really don't need
Right.
to bring out there. I don't know, sometimes whenever the weather, that uh I mean, I kind of brought it up not too long ago, but when I was starting to get rained on, I had a coat that my my QU access coat, that's kind of a hybrid that repels rain. But I was wanting either one of two things, which I had them, but uh my I just lost what they are. The You let me borrow them
Gators.
last year. Gators, yes, thank you. Uh yeah, so I had gators in my truck, or your gators. I had them in my truck and I didn't have them with me, and I was like, I really wish I had at least gators right now, because walking through the grass and brush after it slowed down raining, I kind of really wish I had at least gators to help keep my pants dry. Um, but when it was raining, I was like, right now would be a good time to have some rain gear and keep a little bit dry.
Right.
And I mean, I kind of kept dry with that coat, but yeah, some actual rain gear is pretty beneficial. And it was something that I overlooked because I'm like, oh, how bad could it get? But sometimes when a rainstorm goes through the middle of the woods, it gets pretty bad. Uh, so yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I think I was trying to just say, like, sometimes it's beneficial to bring stuff that you actually think you might need,
Right.
and so yeah, you might want a heavier bag. You might carry a little bit more than you think you might need, but whenever it started raining on me, I thought that it was actually, I didn't have the weather report because I didn't have service, but I thought that the way the clouds looked, I'm like, oh, I think it might clear up a little bit, and then they just come dumping down on me, and I'm like, well, I guess I was, or maybe I'm closer to a weatherman than I think, because I'm wrong half the time, but
Right.
uh, but I was like, yeah, I kind of failed on that one, and yeah, so like I said, I mean, I stayed dry enough, but I definitely got a little wetter than I wanted to. Not that it was a big deal. I mean, once it did start drying up a little bit, my hunting gear, I dried up pretty fast and everything, but it could have been a little less miserable, I guess. The rainstorm, I'm trying to make it sound like this rainstorm was the eye of the storm or something, but it it came down pretty hard for a while, for like a good hour or two, or hour and a half or something like that, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was just coming down pretty steady, but it wasn't pouring.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
man, that's another thing too. It's kind of an eerie feeling whenever the thunder and lightning's going on around you and you're in the middle of the woods and you're like, I've seen trees explode from lightning and sitting under a tree trying to stay a little bit dry.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a lose-lose situation here.
Yeah. I've actually felt like the static or the electric field
Really
before the lightning striked
struck.
struck before it came out of the heavens.
Really.
Yeah, that was a weird feeling.
Oh man, yeah. I was like, I was telling myself, I'm like, "Yeah, man, if lightning hits this tree, I just hope it kills me because or else it's gonna hurt really, really bad. And I'm gonna
Right,
probably die anyway. So I'll just be extra crispy for the bear."
right. Oh, but yeah. So I think, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's about it. All I have.
Yeah, and I think that's all I have too. So I'll go ahead and uh, get this closed up, I guess, and just kind of close up the thoughts. Um, I was trying to think of how to, kind of put a closing thought on the longer, harder, and smarter. But that's kind of what you're trying to do, and in taking your time and trying to understand that and how it's going to affect you before you get out in the woods. Give yourself a good game plan in those three areas is will probably help you be a better hunter. So give yourself some time to think on that before you're out in the woods and trying to understand how to hunt harder, longer, and smarter. But anyways, um, I'll just go ahead and say thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you listening to me and Eric here and discussing, those things that we see in the field and how we go after whatever it is we're trying to hunt. And, as we're trying to tune in our hunting capabilities and to hunt longer, harder, and smarter.
Hey, speaking of real quick before we get out, one quick question. Do you have any plans of hunting anytime soon in the next week or two or until we do the podcast again?
I'm gonna try to go out tomorrow night. The general any weapon deer hunt starts this weekend here in Utah. So I want to try to get out one more time before the guys are running all over the woods, and I don't want to be out there Saturday with a bunch of rifle hunters out there too. So yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to go out and then probably take another week and a half or so off and then go back out after that.
Yeah, your turkey hunt's pretty long, huh?
February.
Oh yeah. Wow, really? And then like what is it? April?
Yeah,
Spring. So it's like just a few months and then
right.
huh, interesting.
Right. Yeah.
I really like you guys' turkey hunt the way or Utah's turkey hunt, the way it works. Because the way that I interpreted ours was it was like it was kind of during
During
the
the
fall
hunt.
season was during the archery hunt. It's been a while since I looked at it, so I might be a little off on on that, but it was pretty close to the archery hunt or kind of went alongside of it. I'm like, man, that sucks.
Right.
Well, what
Yeah.
really sucks though is I wish I would have actually gotten a turkey tag because there was one day I was going up to elk hunt and I saw a bunch of turkeys. And, I could have at least got a turkey.
Right. Right.
Always on the back foot, man.
That's
That's
true.
that's the that's the new saying I think is struggling hunters always on the back foot.
Oh, but yeah, we're always on the back foot. So we appreciate you guys listening and tuning in to us when you do, and give us a like, tell a friend, and we'll be ready to give you guys another story next week. So thanks again for listening. And until we tell you another story, have a good one. Take care.
Yep. Good luck, Joe, on this week's hunt. That's what I was going to say. And see you guys later.
Bye.